noise will be fairly loud, so keep your earplugs in. I'll try and communicate with you the best that I can, and again, we'll have questions at the end.
Start out here with poles of aluminum that can weigh as much as 30,000 pounds apiece. They just rest. It'll stamp out the substance we'll see on the other side. What that is, stamping these cups. These cups go in here, travel over here. They actually come down through there, cans come out here. Then they go up the conveyor, then they go over and they get washed. Close the plant and get neck down. Layers of can, 8,100.
That's the typical pallet right there.
Yeah, 8,169 cans. He's going to take those 4 pallets and stack them on top over a week if we were shipping and not making any new ones.
Wow.
We make about 6 million a day and we ship them pretty much as fast as we make them.
Wow. So each pallet, so each set of 4 is about 32,000 cans. stack
Yeah.
them, stack them, stack them.
Yeah, each pallet has 8,169 cans on it. The Fanta, the Minute Maid juices, with quite a few different labels, about 48 or 50.
So if I pull out one, it won't all come down?
No.
I don't know. I dare you to pull one of those cans out. I'm not, I can't do it. But you need to do it.
Trailer.
Wow. All designed to fit exactly.
Yeah.
Best fit, period, huh?
Yeah, it's a pretty tight fit.
We're working to actually put that into this plant as well. It'll be about a $50 million investment. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting kind of convinced corporate to do it here. Good.
So that's the operation. We'll make a quick stop in the QC lab and I'll show you that can progression of how it goes from the coil to the truck. I'm going to run them through the QC lab on the way back and show them that can progression.
Back to the plant.
Okay, since it was so noisy out there and you couldn't really ask questions, I'll open the process as the coil goes through a cupper and stamps out these little 1-inch tall cups, which you can see is considered through the 4 dies until you come out with this can here. You can see the edge is a little jagged, so we go through the next machine's called
It's the same amount of metal, it's just
extruded. So the next machine is called a trimmer, which trims off that jagged edge and gives you this nice smooth finish. Then we run it through a 6-stage washer for sanitation purposes. Then it goes to the decorator where it gets the label put on, and that's actually ink, it's not paint, so it's printed on there at 2,300 cans a minute, which is about 32 cans a second. Really fast operation. Then the next step is we spray the inside with an FDA food grade approved lacquer. That way you don't have any metal contact with your beverage. Then it goes through a series of necking processes that makes the neck smaller. That's primarily for cost savings, the reduction of aluminum. The aluminum represents 65% of the cost of manufacturing, so the less we can use, the cheaper the can is for us to manufacture. Then we put a flange on it, which allows them to seam the end on it when it gets to the filler. We actually send the cans out empty, open-ended like that. 2 of our other plants make the ends and ship them in down here for us. Once the product is filled, then they drop the end on it, the filler, and seam it on there. So that's basically the process, in a minutes through our whole process.
And each can represents one of a 12-step process that's outside, or what, is that what that means?
Yeah, this is the life cycle of basically one can from start to finish.
Texas is the biggest and best can market in the country. So more cans are consumed in Texas. Us Texans love our cans. And this is what we tell people for...
I thought that was beer, though.
Well, beer's included as well. Beer's included as well.
Where are the Coors Lights cans?
Coors Lights are right outside of are all cans. But what we tell people is that when you recycle a can, you save 95% of the energy.
Okay.
And that's enough energy to power your TV for 3 hours. So if you take a 6-pack of beer, you can watch 18 hours of football on Sunday and tell your wife you're carbon neutral.
125 million cans that we currently have in the warehouse. We ship between 40 to 50 million on a good week with regard to sales. So it's constantly turning over as long as the weather's nice and hot like it is now. People are buying the product and consuming it, and it keeps everybody in business here.
So all we ask is
Annual basis.
Wow.
We use approximately 28,000 pounds of line
a line
per day.
Per day.
Per day.
28,000 pounds, we use 3 coils per line per day. So that's really more like 75,000 pounds per day, per line.
And how many lines do you have?
50,000 pounds. Just that keeps getting bigger and bigger.
And how many lines are there?
There's 2 lines. So we use a lot of material here. If you think
already in the rolls. About 2/3 of the material is already recycled content. So
Sheet, it starts at the sheet, even recycle.
we buy them in the sheet. They'll go back to an aluminum roller that will use.
Jeff, your name?
Jeff Scott.
You're the plant manager here at Ball?
Yes, I am.
Tell me a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your operation here.
Well, it's a 2-line operation, high-speed aluminum can manufacturing. We make the 12-ounce beverage cans here. Predominantly for Coca-Cola is our major customer here. We have 120 employees. This plant contributes roughly $15 million to the local economy in wages, taxes, benefits, that type of thing. We make approximately 6 million cans each day, or a little over 2 billion cans per year. And it's a very robust market here in Texas, and particularly in this area. Very strong market with regard to sales. Really one of the strongest areas in the U.S.
Tell me, Conroe. I mean, Ball's been here in Conroe for quite a while. Several other companies. What originally brought them to Conroe? You know?
It was the market, the demand. Many of the filling operations are in this area. You know, with Houston, the 4th largest metropolitan area in the U.S., there's a very large demand for our product here, and it was at the time a very good and profitable site for Ball to be in. Ball started operations here in 1987, and we did just celebrate our 25-year anniversary last year.
And you've been putting out cans this whole time.
Yes, we have.
What about, I mean, we're talking recycling a while ago. How much is recyclable, and how long does it take from the time it hits recycling to be back in your line again?
Less than 60 days, which is very quick. That's the quickest recycle time of any major product in the U.S. There's still a lot of work to do with regard to recycling, though. About 58% of Americans recycle right now. One of the things we do here at our plant is we have field trips of school children come through the plant, and we teach them about recycling and the importance of recycling.
Something like this, large plant like this, how is it really, I mean, you're really not considered a small business, but I mean, the economy, with the economy, has that affected you much at all the past couple of years?
It hasn't hurt us too bad. What's hurt us more is some of the negative talks about sugar-enriched products. You know, obviously that is hurting some of the larger companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and with regard to the sugar content. So they've become more responsive to that with diet products and that type of thing.
But more and more starting to go to aluminum from the plastic, right?
It's both ways. I mean, typically you don't find as much water in aluminum cans. Water is still, the bottled water is still very marketable in the U.S., even though it contributes to landfills. People just aren't educated. They don't know the downfalls of the PET or the plastic bottles and the effect that those have on the landfill as compared to the aluminum can.
What is the reason that much more is bottled, canned as far as water? I mean, you've got all these bottled water. Everyone's got bottled water in their hand. What about canned water?
We do have canned water, but it's just not near as popular for whatever reason.
And Congressman Brady, tell me a little bit about the reason coming up here today.
Yeah, we're here at Ball Manufacturing, which is one of the iconic U.S. manufacturing companies, along with other manufacturing companies in our district, agriculture and construction companies, talking about the impediments to this recovery, what they can do to hire more workers. And what they're telling me is that our tax code is awfully complex, hard to comply with, and makes it hard to compete and win against other countries. They're worried about all the new regulation coming out of Washington, the president's new health care law as well, and they're always searching for qualified workers. Those were the key issues we talked about today.
What's it looking like? I mean, the economy in this area, it looks like it's building, especially jobless.
Oh, I tell you what, there's no better place in the country to be today than in Texas, and specifically in the Houston region. We're outpacing the rest of the country, doubling the number of jobs, the rate of economic growth, but the rest of the country is struggling. And I really think it's these impediments out of Washington that are really the roadblocks to getting the economy going again.
What about, you're looking at businesses. There's quite a few coming to Houston. It's not just the oil boom coming to Houston again, but it's everything else coming to Houston.
Yeah, the word is out across the rest of the country that if you want a fair chance to succeed, Texas is the place that you invest. And so you got companies from California to Ohio to the Northeast and on taking a hard look at Texas because of our balanced regulations, low taxes, and a real can-do spirit. Our local governments, our state governments want business here, and it shows.
What have you seen just in the Conroe area itself for the past couple of months? Well, say the past year.
Yeah, lots of economic growth in our region. Obviously, we're a key part of the Houston region. Great quality of life, low prices in our land, and easy to construct. And so, like the rest of our region, we're pretty attractive for other companies, not just from around the country, but from around the world to locate here.
And we're looking at large businesses here. What about small businessmen? I mean, you've got the small businessmen out there really trying, really doing everything you can, trying to make it, still having a tough time.
It is. Small businesses are really struggling. About 3 out of 4 of them tell us the president's new health care law, major reason they're not hiring right now. In fact, some of them are cutting back on their workers or their hours. Small businesses also tell us regulation just exploded in the last 4 years. It's really causing them big concerns. And so, until we address those out of Washington, we're not going to see the hiring along Main Street that I think we deserve.
What about the oil boom here in the Conroe area? It's brought a lot of jobs to this area. There's more still coming in, more companies even.
Yeah, energy is just key to the economy, but the indirect benefit of that, manufacturing companies like this at Ball, like around the country, are now more competitive in the world as well. And so we're actually bringing manufacturing from outside the country back, creating jobs here. America's back because of affordable, reliable energy.
All right.